Hello everyone, I am Sahana Prasad from Department of Commerce, Gopal Swami PU College, Mysore. Welcome to Business Studies class. In today's session, let's continue with Chapter 2, that is Forms of Business Organization, Session 7, and today's topic is Choice of Form of Business Organization. There are so many factors which a businessman has to consider before selecting the form of business organization. ಯಾವ ಥರ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ನ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ he has to consider few factors, whether he has to opt for sole proprietorship or whether he has to start a business with 2 to 3 persons, or whether to start a business in the form of a company or cooperative society or joint Hindu family business, etc. So ಯಾವ ಥರ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ನಾವು ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ there are certain factors which a businessman has to consider. So now let us see one by one. First one is cost and ease in setting up the organization. See, in case of sole proprietorship, the legal formalities are minimum and it is inexpensive. And in case of partnership also, there are less formalities and it is not very difficult to start partnership. And in case of joint stock company, there are a lot of legal formalities and it is time taking, it is costly, and there are so many documents which they have to prepare and it is complicated. And cooperative society also, the registration is compulsory. So when we think from the point of view of cost and ease in setting up of the organization, it is better we opt for sole proprietorship, because to start sole proprietorship is easy and it has very minimum legal formalities. So this is first one. Second is liability. The liability means, you know, it is outsider's claim. ನಾವು ಹೊರಗಡೆಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನು ದುಡ್ಡು ಪೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಏನು ಡ್ಯೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು liability ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. In case of sole proprietorship, the liability of sole proprietor, and in case of partnership, it is unlimited. But in case of joint stock company or cooperative society, it depends upon the amount of capital contributed. Compared to sole proprietorship and partnership, if we think from the point of view of liability, it is better to select joint stock company because the liability is limited and the risk involved is also less in case of joint stock company. Next is continuity. See, in case of sole proprietorship and partnership, what happens especially in case of sole proprietorship, if death, insanity, insolvency, or if any health issues occur to that particular person or to the sole proprietorship, they have to, or he has to discontinue his business. In case of partnership also, if one of the partner dies or if one of the partner becomes insolvent or insanity or insolvency happens, so then again the remaining partners, they have to change the agreement and they have to do a new agreement. So again it is complicated. But in case of joint stock company, the business is not at all affected because there are a large number of people involved in managing the business. So continuity is not affected in case of joint stock company. And here company form is suitable when we think in the form of continuity. And if they have decided to do a business in a smaller scale, we can also prefer sole proprietorship and partnership. So next is management ability. See, sole proprietorship, it is very difficult for him to expertise in all areas of management. And in case of partnership also, you can't say that all the partners are capable of managing the business in all the areas. In partnership, in joint Hindu family, in cooperative society, and in joint stock company, in all these cases, they are in a position to hire a manager or an expert from outside or a professional to look after their business. So they are in a position to pay them higher salary. So management ability, if we think from the point of view of management ability, company form is more suitable. And if sole proprietorship and partnership, if the structure of the business is simple and it is if it is very easy to manage, we can also opt for sole proprietorship and partnership also. Next is capital consideration. The capital what sole proprietorship contributes is quite less, and in case of partnership also you can't expect more amount of capital. But in case of cooperative society and joint stock company, you can expect more amount of capital and there is also scope for expansion of their business. So that is capital consideration. So if we think from the capital point of view, they can definitely opt for joint stock company. Next is degree of control. In case of sole proprietorship, the entire business is managed by a sole trader or a owner. He's the only person who manages his business. And in case of partnership also, if all the partners agree that yes, they can share the decision making power, or if they decide that yes, ನಾನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ business ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೋಡ್ಕೋ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, they can also manage their business easily. But in case of joint stock company, you know that it has a separate legal entity. Owners are different from the company. Here there is a complete separation of ownership and management, and here professionals are appointed to look after the business. So that is degree of control. Next is nature of business. When we think of the nature of business, here the personal contact with the customers are very easy. In case of sole proprietorship ke examples in grocery stores or provision store, they can keep in touch with the customers. And in case of partnership also, if a partnership firm is formed to provide a service of some professional nature, partnership is suitable. In case of a joint stock company, direct personal contact is not required. And if you think from the point of view of nature of business, company form is suitable. So these are the various factors which affects the choice of form of business organization. See, here all the factors are interrelated. So ಇವಾಗ ಸೋಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಪ್ರೈಟರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಹಿಂದೂ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಇಟ್ ಆಲ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಪಾನ್ ದಿ ನೇಚರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೈಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್, ವೆದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆರ್ ಅ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರೇಷನ್ ಆರ್ ದ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ಡ್. All these factors need to be considered. So while selecting the form of business organization, all these factors are important. So these are the 7 important factors which has to be considered by the businessman when he selects the form of business organization. This question is asked for practical oriented question for 5 marks, and you have to write any 5 points. Now let us see the comparative evaluation of forms of organization. So now let us see what are the difference between sole proprietorship, partnership, joint stock company, cooperative society and joint Hindu family business. Let us see one by one. First is, in case of formation, in case of sole proprietorship, there are minimum legal formalities and it is very easy to form the business. In case of partnership also, registration is optional and it is easy to form. And in case of joint Hindu family business, less legal formalities and it is exemption from registration. Registration of joint Hindu family business is not at all required, and even it has very less legal formalities. And cooperative society, you know, there are greater legal formalities. Registration of cooperative society is compulsory. And in case of a company, you know that registration is compulsory, and the formation of joint stock company is not easy. It is costly, it is time taking, it is expensive, it is lengthy. So these are the differences on the basis of formation. Next is, let us see from the point of view of member. You know that in case of sole proprietorship, there is only one owner, and in case of partnership, minimum can be 2 and maximum number of partners can be 50. And in case of joint Hindu family business, to start a joint Hindu family business, at least 2 members are required. And there is no maximum limit in case of joint Hindu family business. And in case of cooperative societies, to start a cooperative society, there must be at least 10 adult members. And in case of a company, you know that in case of a private company, there must be 2 persons, and in case of a public company, there must be minimum must be 7, and maximum number in private company is 200, and maximum in case of public company is unlimited. So this is on the basis of number of members. Next is capital contribution. In case of sole proprietorship, finances limited. In case of partnership also it is limited, but compared to sole proprietorship, here we can expect little more amount of capital. And in case of joint Hindu family business, the capital depends upon the ancestral property. And in case of cooperative society also, it is limited because we cannot expect more amount of capital from the members of cooperative society. And in case of a company, you can expect large financial resource. There you can expect more amount of capital. So this is from the point of view of capital contribution. Next is liability. You know that the liability of the sole proprietorship is unlimited, and in partnership also the liability of partners are unlimited and joint. And joint means here all the partners are liable to pay the debts of the firm. And in case of joint Hindu family business, only Karta has unlimited liability, but remaining members of the joint Hindu family business, they have limited liability. Next is in cooperative society also, the liability is limited to the extent of capital contributed by them, and in case of company also the liability is limited. So this is the comparison on the basis of liability. Next is control and management. See, in case of sole proprietorship, owner is a person who takes all decisions and he takes all the responsibility of the business. And in case of partnership also, here partner takes all the decision with the consent of other partners. And in case of joint Hindu family business, Karta takes decision, and in case of cooperative society, only elected representative, that is managing elected committee ಅಂತ ಏನೊಂದು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು decisions na ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. And in case of company, you know that there is a separation of ownership and management. And in case of company, there is a separation of ownership and management. Here owners are different, company is different, and basically joint stock company is managed by board of directors which are elected by the shareholders of the company. Next is continuity. You know, in case of sole proprietorship, it is unstable. Sole proprietor dies or insolvency or insanity occurs, then he has to discontinue his business. In partnership also it is more stable, but it depends upon the status of the partners. And in case of joint Hindu family business, the business is stable because if Karta dies, the next elder person becomes the Karta of the business. And in case of cooperative society, it is stable because it has separate legal status. And in case of company also, it has separate legal status, separate legal entity, and they can continue their business until it is officially wind up by the shareholders or the members of the joint stock company. So this is the comparative evaluation of forms of business organization, and here I am concluding chapter 2, and I hope you have understood today's session. Thank you.